Today celebrates another year of academic victory, for we have won the battle against uncertainties and adapted to drastic changes brought by coronavirus disease in delivering quality education. Our dreams interlace with resilience to defeat our fears and worries, and our hearts never faded to tell us that in the end all our plans would come to fruition.
Not only does it mark an end of one chapter in your life, but also commence a different venture which will morph you into quite independent, resilient, and responsible individuals who can take a part of a society and carry out your duties and responsibilities in this world, where you will be given more but expect you to give and do more.
And you have waited for this very special day to come, the turning point that determines your decision on taking steps on a new horizon of possibilities and an avenue of opportunities to gain more valuable learnings and experiences that would shape your character.
With many early morning wake-ups and countless sleepless nights in toiling your studies, you persevered and weren't wavered, and despite the challenges and burdens caused by COVID-19 pandemic, you have got through it. And so the day has come, and finally, you made it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2020 to 2021 Moving Up ceremony of Enrico T. Prado National High School.
With the theme, Strengthening the Quality of Education Amid the COVID-19 Pandemic.
And to begin, may we request everyone to please stay still and pay attention for the singing of our national anthem, followed by a prayer, regional hymn, and Pangasinan hymn.
Seems so big, and everything seems so out of reach. The sky is high and the walk is wide. You just don't know what you've got yet. It's in the palm of your hands. It's right in front of where you stand. If you believe everything you dream will come true, and if you can love, no matter how you hurt, love will come to you, back to you. This world is yours. 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 This wor you believe, everything you dream will come true. And if you can see, there's nothing I can be too big for you. No, no. If you can see, if you can believe, if you can dream, this world is yours, yeah. This world is yours.
There's no better place I see.
one from passing on. We're still one, you are the one. Anchor of every child's journey, maker of bright destiny. Embrace culture with dignity, work with goodwill and harmony. Honesty and sincerity, serve with pride and unity.
And to formally start, we have the school head of Enrico T. Prado National High School, Dr. Cristobal P. Cristobal, for his opening remarks.
Our guest of honor and speaker, our Municipal Mayor, Honorable Roldan C. Salles, our Barangay Captain, Captain Conrado T. Hermosado Jr., our Officer in Charge, Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Elis Ubaldo, our two Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Gisdado Aycayabyab and Dr. Maria Criselda G. Ocam, our Public Schools District Supervisor, Dr. Rofo F. De La Cruz, teaching and non-teaching personnel of Enrico T. Prado National High School, candidates for completion, parents, guests, visitors, good morning. This day marks another significant event for the Bus 2021 completers of Enrico T. Prado National High School. We are certain for another success as this school will unveil its fresh junior high school completers who will contribute to make the change that everyone is merely hoping for. Today, the steward of the division and our great school administrators and personnel have empowered another group of young men and women to become significant beings, full of ideas and the necessary knowledge and skills to make our country a better place. As we go through the ceremony, we have great reasons to be thankful for all the hardworking, supportive, and special people behind the success of this completing batch of learners. As much as we would like to further express this gratitude in behalf of the entire personnel of Enrico T. Prado National High School, I would like to welcome everyone to this occasion. Let us cherish this success to motivate ourselves, every one of us, to become even more competent and successful in all our endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and mabuhay to the 2021 Moving Up Ceremony of Enrico T. Prado National High School.
At this moment, we are now in the main highlight of today's event. And to do the honors of presenting the candidates for completion, let's have again Dr. Cristobal P. Cristobal, and this will be confirmed by our Public Schools District Supervisor, Dr. Rufo F. De La Cruz, to be followed by his message.
Good morning. Sir, I have the honor to present to you 199 grade 10 completers for school year 2020-2021, of whom 87 are males and 112 are females, who have satisfactorily completed the requirements prescribed by the Department of Education under the K-12 curriculum. Sir, for your acceptance and confirmation.
By authority vested in me as the Public Schools District Supervisor of the District of Aguilar, by the Officer in Charge, Office of the Schools Division Superintendent of the Schools Division Office 1, Pangasinan, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Eli Esobaldo, I, Dr. Rofo F. De La Cruz, hereby accept this batch 2020-2021 of Enrico T. Prado National High School a completer. I hereby confirm of values all the rights and privileges appertaining thereto. Congratulations.
At this very moment, let us be inspired as we listen to the message of the Officer in Charge, Office of the Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Ali S. Subaldo, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent.
Isang mapagpalang araw sa inyong lahat. Lubos ang aking kagalakan na makapagbigay ng mensahe sa inyo, mahal naming mga magulang, guro, punong guro, at higit sa lahat, sa inyo, ating mga completers at graduates mula sa kindergarten, grade 6, grade 10, grade 12, at sa ating learners from the alternative learning system na pumasa sa portfolio assessment. Ang tema ng ating end of school year rights ay kalidad ng edukasyon, lalong patatagin sa gitna ng pandemya. Ang pandemyang dulot ng COVID-19 ang nag-udyok sa lahat ng educational leaders na gumawa ng mga tough choices sa gitna ng tanong, paano mapapangalagaan ang kaligtasan ng mga guro at paano maihahatid ang edukasyon sa mga mag-aaral. Ayon nga kay Secretary Briones, education must continue even in times of crisis. Sa pagtutulungan nga ng mga magulang, mag-aaral, kaguruan at stakeholders na itawid natin ang school year 2020-2021. Tunay ngang napakahalaga ng ating selebrasyon ngayong school year 2020-2021 because for the first time in history, the school and home have finally touched base together for a common aspiration. Nagpapatunay na malaki ang bahagi ng parental involvement sa academic achievement ng isang mag-aaral. As parents and teachers work together to address our children's needs, we're able to form a formidable team to combat ignorance and keep relevant values that every home and society cherish. Batid ko ang inyong mga pasakit at pinagdaanan, maitawid lamang ang inyong pag-aaral. Mental stress, dala ng independent learning, unstable internet connectivity, problema sa kahirapan ng buhay. Ngunit lahat ng ito ay napagtagumpayan ninyo. Ang inyong ipinakitang tibay ay kamangha-mangha. Ito ay nagpapakita ng katatagan ng ating mga mag-aaral. Lastly, gusto kong sabihin sa inyo, please appreciate your parents. To be a good father and mother requires that the parents defer many of their own needs and desires in favor of the needs of their children. You never know what sacrifices they went through for you. Respect your teachers. Teachers spend most of their nights planning, most of their mornings explaining, most of their afternoons correcting, most of their years encouraging, most of their lives stressing what matters most in life, and it's all for your future. So don't make their jobs more difficult. Congratulations to you, our precious children, parents, teachers, and school heads for continuously making the flames of education burn amidst the darkness of these times. Mabuhay!
This juncture unfolds the new breed of successful junior high school completers of school year 2020 to 2021. And to start off with, ladies and gentlemen, we have grade 10 Archimedes, Advisor Mrs. Dina Mary V. Ripangkol. Agacetti John Bert Banyas, son of Mr. and Mrs. Alfredo Agacetti. He aims to become an auto mechanic. Banyes Carlos Miguel Orosa, son of Mr. and Mrs. Leo F. Banyes. He aspires to become a soldier. Corpus John Emerson Pastor, son of Mr. and Mrs. Erickson B. Corpus. He dreams to become a soldier. Crepa Onofre Jr. Conde, son of Mr. and Mrs. Onofre P. Crepa. His goal is to become a seaman. Dancil Van Eric Season, with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Samuel M. Dancil, aspiring to become a computer engineer. De Guzman Theo James Tugonon, son of Mr. and Mrs. Randy De Guzman. He desires to become a policeman. De Leon John Paul Jimeniano, son of Mr. and Mrs. Johnny De Leon. He likes to become a seaman. Directo Matthew Riparit, son of Mr. and Mrs. Rodolfo Directo. He dreams to become a pilot. Disos Shan Joey Ripancol, son of Mr. and Mrs. Joey Diso. His dream is to become a seaman. Henry Edward Casilar, son of Mr. and Mrs. Edwin Henry. He wants to become a seaman. Muñoz Marciliano de Guzman, son of Mr. and Mrs. Marcelino Muñoz. His aim is to become a seaman. Ramos Raymark de la Cruz, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ronaldo Ramos, dreaming to become an accountant. Ripancol Kyle Rainier Villanueva, son of Mrs. Dina Mary V. Ripancol, aiming to become a radiologic technologist. Ripancol Miko Lausin, son of Mr. and Mrs. Romeo Ripancol. He intends to become a seaman. Tabilin Matt Daniel Eustaquio, son of Mr. and Mrs. Philip Tabilin, aspiring to become an electrical engineer. Tobias J.B. De Leon, son of Mr. and Mrs. Domiciano Tobias Jr. He dreams to become a musician. Velasco Renz John Rasquiro, with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ronaldo Velasco. He aims to become a teacher. Aquino Myla May Crepa, daughter of Mrs. Elizabeth Crepa. She dreams to become a baker. Aviles Hershime Buduan, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Aviles. Her goal is to become a chef. Corpus Charlene Zendon, with high honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Richard Corpus. She wants to become a lawyer. Corpus Chanali Kate Lanyog, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Arnel Corpus. She wants to become a flight attendant. De Guzman Haname Directo, daughter of Mrs. Judith De Guzman. She wants to become a flight attendant. De la Cruz Roslyn Crepa, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Ronald De la Cruz. She wants to become a policewoman. De la Cruz Salma Eunice, daughter of Mrs. Marlene De la Cruz. Her goal is to become a flight attendant. Garay Gia Parvin Reyes, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Romualdo Garay. She aspires to become a doctor. Garay Grace Ann Domen, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert Garay, desiring to become a teacher. Garay Raisa Duque, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Rogelio Garay Jr. She aims to become a flight attendant. Micham Elame Juan, daughter of Mr. Roderick Micham. She dreams to become a flight attendant. Pagarigan Jasmine Gischada, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Vernie Pagarigan. Her goal is to become a teacher. Paulo Marjorie Peralta, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Joselito Paulo, dreaming to become a teacher. Portento Alexandria Wamil, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Ronnie Portento, aspiring to become a soldier. Rahel Dacian Villanueva, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Florante Rahel, aiming to become a doctor. Ramos Honeygirl Oranza, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Dominador Ramos, she aims to become a chef. Ripalda Joanna Jill Narag, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Luciano Ripalda. She aims to become a chef. Ripangkol Eden K. Garay, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jessie Ripangkol, dreaming to become a welder. Sawal Angel Ann Garcia, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Antonio Sawal. Her goal is to become a nurse. Ongriano Cristel Pagarigan, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Darius Ongriano, dreaming to become a chef.
Grayton Aristotle, advisor Mrs. Ruby V. Quinto. Bernardino Jeremy Marquez, son of Mr. and Mrs. J.R.E. Bernardino, aspiring to become an accountant. Clemente Paul Oliver Natok, son of Mr. and Mrs. Rogelio M. Clemente. He aims to become a policeman someday. Descalzo Oscar Jr. Rodrigo, guardian Mrs. Rose Descalzo. He wants to become a seaman. Ducusin Erickson Descalzo, son of Mr. and Mrs. Florante Ducusin, dreaming to become a soldier in the future. Yupalao Von Kirby Hacalne, son of Mr. and Mrs. Rafael P. Yupalao Jr. He desires to be an electrical engineer. Galiendo Gerald Botardo, son of Mr. and Mrs. Orlando S. Galiendo. He likes to be a soldier someday. Galiendo Mike Rain Apuyo, son of Mr. and Mrs. Michael Galiendo, hoping to become a seaman. Galiendo Paul Christian, son of Mrs. Vicky S. Galiendo. His ambition is to become a policeman. Lucre Mark Anthony Castro, son of Mr. and Mrs. Rodrigo S. Lucre. His dream is to become a seaman. Nate Mark Lawrence Paningbatan, son of Mrs. Lily P. Nate. He likes to become a soldier. Solis Raymart Reyes, son of Mr. and Mrs. Luis M. Solis. He aspires to be a police officer. Villena Erickson Roberto, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ruben M. Villena, and he wants to be an engineer. Biag Jasmine Joy Solis, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Edgar C. Biag. She would like to become a policewoman. Clemente Salome Lumampao, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Mar N. Clemente. She wants to become a teacher. Colaste Tricia May Tupig, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Noel Colaste, aspiring to become a SPED teacher. Duque Maricel Domingo, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Renato Duque. Her dreams is to become a lawyer. Stabilio Angelica De Leon, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Eddie A. Estabilio. Her ambition is to become a chef. Estabilio Sarah Jane Cagiwa, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Francisco D. Estabilio. She would like to become an accountant. Fernandez Rica Season,
daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Miguel D. Fernandez. She wants to be a flight attendant. Lawang Janine de la Cruz, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jojo C. Lawang, hoping to be a midwife someday. Madriaga Raya Claire Santos, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Rio L. Madriaga. She aspires to be a news anchor. Mendoza Crisbel May Tondo, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Charlito R. Mendoza. She desires to become an architect. Mitiam Jennifer Divida, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Virgilio F. Mitiam, dreaming to become a police investigator. Mitiam Giselle Reyes, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jose F. Mitiam. Her ambition is to become a police officer. Natad Magi Solis, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Perfecto T. Natad. She aspires to be a doctor. Orenza Wensime Valdez, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Wilson C. Orenza. She wants to become a nurse. Perez Nicame Medina, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Wilfredo M. Perez. She would like to establish her own business. Piscador Benelin de Guzman, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Bernard D. Piscador. She aspires to become a senior high school teacher. Ripari Christine Joy Malo, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Freddie R. Ripari, hoping to be a teacher someday. Sawi Mageline Reyes, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Roberto T. Sawi. She wants to be a businesswoman. Solis Clarice Iscanio, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Porfirio R. Solis. She aims to be a police woman.
Grade 10 Einstein. Advisor Mrs. Estela C. Lagno. Abad Ferrante Simon, son of Mrs. Lavelia Abad. He wants to become a seaman. Bartolo Christian Busaco, son of Mr. Roberto Bartolo. He aspires to become an information technologist. Castro Emil Ripalda, son of Mr. and Mrs. Eduardo Castro. He is dreaming to become a policeman. Fernandez Renato Jr. Dolor, son of Mr. and Mrs. Renato Fernandez Sr. He desires to become a seaman. Flores John Mark Castro, son of Mr. and Mrs. Abelardo Flores. He intends to become a computer engineer. La Cuesta J.R. Versosa, son of Mr. and Mrs. Edgar La Cuesta. His goal is to become a seaman. Ledron Louis Riparip, son of Mr. and Mrs. Lorenzo Ledron. He is aiming to become a soldier. Manibalen Lloyd Castro, son of Mr. and Mrs. Jesse Manibalen. He aims to become a seaman. Olipares Christian Morado, son of Mrs. Cesaria Morado, aspiring to become a seaman. Ripalda Adrian De Vijo, son of Mr. and Mrs. Adolfo Ripalda, wanting to become a soldier. Ripalda Brennan Toledo, son of Mr. and Mrs. Fernando Ripalda, dreaming to become a seaman. Ripari Brian Lumibaw, with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Dante Ripari. He wants to become a computer engineer. Tolentino TJ Andre Saure, son of Miss Babylin Saure. He wants to become an electrical engineer. Tormes Tedimar Cruzario, son of Mr. and Mrs. Theodi Tormes. He wants to become a policeman. Bautista Emily de la Cruz, daughter of Mr. Eduardo Bautista. She wants to become a businesswoman. Baybayan Eliza May Samson, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Fundador Baybayan. She is dreaming to become a businesswoman. Cabarrubias Angelica May, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Pepito Versosa. She desires to become a flight attendant. Castro Angela Lacuesta, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Mario M. Castro. She wants to become a policewoman. Castro Marian de la Cruz, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Luis Castro. Her goal is to become an accountant. Dawana Leanne Magbato, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Henry Dawana. She is aiming to become an engineer. De Guzman Ash Eros Pagatpatan, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Achiever de Guzman. She aims to become a professional gamer. De Guzman Cyrene Venus Pagatpatan, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Achiever de Guzman, aspiring to become a chef and an author. De la Cruz Lysel Ripari, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Algen de la Cruz, wanting to become a receptionist. Galano Eileen Gapasin, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Amatorio Galano, dreaming to become a teacher. Guerrero Janelle Carrera, with honors, daughter of Miss Vemelin Guerrero, aspiring to become a chef. Mamasig Princess Paliteg, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Rudel Mamasig, wanting to become a teacher. Pastor Barbishane de Guzman, daughter of Mr. Calixto Pastor, dreaming to become a nurse. Soriano Lady Sofia May Ripangkol, daughter of Miss Michelle Ripangkol. She wants to become a flight attendant. Chuazon Cristel Jelaine Garcia, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Christopher Chuazon. She wants to become an accountant.
Grayton Faraday, advisor, Mr. Ari C. Bulio.
Apostol Beji Abad, son of Mrs. Beth A. Apostol. His goal is to become a soldier. Castro Reggie Apostol, son of Mrs. Violeta A. Castro. He wants to be a policeman. De Guzman Gian Dennis Limos, son of Mr. and Mrs. Danny A. De Guzman. He would like to become a seafarer someday. De Guzman John Tyrone Uchina, son of Mrs. Elisa O. De Guzman, dreaming to become a policeman. De Guzman John Ray Piano, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ramil T. De Guzman Sr. His ambition is to be a policeman. De Vera Ian Cedric, son of Mrs. Elvira P. De Vera. He aspires to become an engineer. De Mandal Rain Christian Laudin, son of Mr. and Mrs. Rolando B. De Mandal, hoping to be a seaman. Ignacio Joshua Duque, son of Mr. and Mrs. Anthony M. Ignacio. His dream is to become a welder. Labelia Chris Lawrence Kalimdin, son of Mr. and Mrs. Alan A. Labelia. He wants to become a soldier. Marin Jeremiah Millones, son of Mrs. Theodora M. Mirin, aspiring to become a computer engineer. Orbita Ermel Mangopa, son of Mrs. Mila M. Orbita. He would like to become a welder. Paragas Jester Castro, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ferdinand B. Paragas. His ambition is to become a policeman. Pinote Dexter Hilido, son of Mrs. Marlene G. Pinote. He dreams to become a computer engineer.
Riaza Luigi, son of Mrs. Annalisa E. Riaza. He wants to become an engineer. Salazar Jan Maverick de Vera, son of Mrs. Imelda P. Tamayo. He aspires to become a computer programmer. Agutaya Kim Paulo, daughter of Mrs. Rebecca P. Agutaya. She wants to become a nurse. Almazan Ira May Biag, daughter of Mrs. Mercedes D. Biag. Her goal is to become a doctor. Alunday Lion Hazel K. Tibang, guardian Mrs. Placida A. Cueva. She dreams to become a policewoman. Biag Reynalyn Picanya, daughter of Mrs. Annabel P. Biag. She wants to become a doctor someday. Kalimlim Jenny Pastor with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Fernando G. Kalimlim, aspiring to become a lawyer someday. Garcia Arleth Miguel, daughter of Mrs. Marisa M. Garcia. She hopes to become a chef. La Cuesta Giselle Santos, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Rolando M. La Cuesta. She wants to become a doctor. Mangoba Rosewin Pertudo, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Ferdinand T. Mangoba. She aspires to become a teacher. Migano Fernalyn Baldovino, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Fernando A. Migano. Her ambition is to become a flight attendant. Montemayor Janeline de Guzman, daughter of Mrs. Ancita Manalo. She wants to become a soldier. Pantaleon Cherry Vicente, daughter of Mrs. Susan V. Pantaleon. She would like to become a welder. Pastor Jessamay Toledo, daughter of Mrs. Geraldine T. Pastor, dreaming to be a computer engineer in the future. Paulo Danica Crepa, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Restituto B. Paulo. She dreams to become a teacher. Kiray Desiree Joy Abad, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Alejandro P. Kiray Jr., hoping to become a teacher. Ripalda Lara Mizi Razon, with honors, daughter of Mrs. Erlinda M. Ripalda. Her dream is to become a teacher. Saga Kristen Joy Roberto, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Pepito S. Saga. Her goal is to become a teacher. Cessna Mary Rose Mangoba, daughter of Mrs. Marilu A. Mangoba. Her ambition is to become a doctor. Silao Kristen Joy Rosario, with honors, daughter of Mrs. Cristina R. Silao. She aims to become a nurse. Tonizol Novigin Solis, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Janice B. Tonizol. She would like to become an architect. Valdez Eliza May Escovido, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Joseph T. Valdez. She wants to become a doctor. Villanueva Edil N. Paulo, daughter of Mrs. Rose Ann P. Villanueva. Her ambition is to become a nurse.
Grade 10 Galileo, Advisor Mrs. Diana S. Credo. Austria Jane Vincent de la Quadra, son of Mr. and Mrs. Dindo C. Austria. He dreams to become an engineer. Carida Aldre Natal, son of Mr. and Mrs. Alfredo Carida. He aspires to become a firefighter. Cernardo Christian Salvador, son of Mr. and Mrs. Crisanto Cernardo. He is aiming to become a soldier. Danio Joshua de la Cruz, son of Mr. and Mrs. Larry Danio. He aims to become a policeman. Hanaban John Michael Natad, son of Mr. Ray Natad, aspiring to become an engineer. Paragas John Ray Vinluan, with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Raimundo Paragas, wanting to become an engineer. Paragas John Carlo Arnold, son of Mr. and Mrs. Rio Paragas, dreaming to become a soldier. Paragas Mark Javen Limos, son of Mr. and Mrs. Violito de la Cruz, aspiring to become a soldier. Suarez Jomar Palitek, son of Mrs. Presi Palitek, dreaming to become a pilot. Tandok Ruel Donato, son of Mr. and Mrs. Romeo Tandok, he is aiming to be a teacher. Toledo Leo Jr. Fabia, son of Mr. and Mrs. Leo Toledo Sr., he intends to become a policeman. Velasco Vijay Paragas, son of Mr. and Mrs. Virgilio Velasco, he is dreaming to become a soldier. Almirol Jessica Lazam, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Ronnie Almirol, she desires to become a nurse. Amaro Shalame Manaay, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Felix Amaro, she intends to become a teacher. Asanya Maricon Milican, daughter of Mrs. Carmelita Milican, her goal is to become a flight attendant. Baltasar Marichu Palitek, daughter of Mrs. Josie Baltasar, she is dreaming to become a nurse. Bernal Mia Rose Pastor, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Ricky Bernal, she wants to become a soldier. Biag Angel May Bonifacio, daughter of Mrs. Bernadette Biag, she is dreaming to become a nurse. Camba Dayan Costales, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Brian Camba, she desires to become an accountant. Corpus Joan Ermino, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Garciano Corpus, she intends to become a policewoman. De la Cruz Tanya, daughter of Miss Domeline de la Cruz, she wants to become an accountant. De la Cuadra Shaina Bernal, with honors, daughter of Mrs. Marita B. de la Cuadra, dreaming to become a doctor. Fuerte Jessica May Orsua, with honors, daughter of Mrs. Melba Fuerte, aspiring to become a teacher. Pando Maria Angelica Hermosato, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Angelito Pando, wanting to become a policewoman. Paragas Janelle Vispiras, daughter of Mr. Jason M. Paragas, aiming to become a policewoman. Pastorin Jezreel Tandog, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. John Pastorin, intending to become a flight attendant.
Grayton Newton, Advisor Mr. Jonathan M. Tuazan.
Biag Justine Silao, son of Mr. and Mrs. Salvador Biag. He would like to become a policeman. Canales Rainier Pineda, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ruben Canales. He wants to be a seaman. Cardinosa Joel Vinluan, son of Mr. and Mrs. Romeo Cardinosa, dreaming to become a seaman someday. Donas John Cedric Barce, with honors, son of Mr. and Mrs. Isidro Dones. His goal is to become an engineer in the future. Estabilio Victoriano III Respito, son of Mr. and Mrs. Victoriano Estabilio Jr. His dream is to be a soldier. Estrada Froilan Aquino, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ernie Estrada. He wants to become an engineer. Estrada Stevenson Minor, son of Mr. and Mrs. Edmond S. Estrada.
dreaming to become a soldier. Evangelista Norman J. Hermias, son of Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy Evangelista Jr. His dream is to be a seaman. Garcia Jehan J. Mitiam, son of Mr. and Mrs. Geraldo Garcia. His ambition is to become a soldier. Jiminiano J. Ripari, son of Mr. and Mrs. Felipe Jiminiano. He wants to become a policeman. Lawang Darwin Duque, son of Mr. and Mrs. Fortunato Lawang. He aims to become a chief mechanic. Largo Josan Gatok, son of Mrs. Marites Largo. He would like to become a seaman. Reyes Arnel Jr. Gatok, son of Mr. and Mrs. Arnel Reyes Sr., dreaming to become an engineer. Ripari Mark Philip Hoven, son of Mr. and Mrs. Erwin Ripari. He would like to become a seaman someday. Silao Justine Mitiam, son of Mr. and Mrs. Virgilio Silao, hoping to become a seaman. Silao Mark Luis Descalzo, son of Mr. and Mrs. Elizalde Silao. He wants to become a seaman. Silao Roland Rabino, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ricardo Silao. His ambition is to become a welder. Balbin Ira Sawi, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Cristita Balbin. She would like to become a chef. Barreno Riza May Lawang, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Barreno. She also aspires to become a chef. Kabilangan Sugar de la Cruz, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. George Kabilangan. She wants to become a lawyer. Donato Bea Gwyneth Asensio, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Bonifacio Donato. Her goal is to become a flight attendant. Duque Jessamay Marinas, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jesse Duque, dreaming to become a chef. Evangelista Sara Bulio, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Loreto Evangelista, hopes to become a flight attendant. Gadia Gianna Rose Tamonan, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Jason Gadia. Her dream is to become a soldier. Hermogeno Edeline Estrada, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Eduardo Hermogeno. She aspires to become a flight attendant. Hermogeno Sheila May Duque, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Burley Hermogeno, aspiring to become a chef. Hermogeno Virginia Gamboa, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Dante Hermogeno, dreaming to become a flight attendant. Lawang Ira Shane Lacuesta, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Saturnino Lawang. She would like to become a policewoman. Lawang Blesseline Domingo, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Virgilio Lawang. Her ambition is to become a chef. Lulu Lizal Ann Jiminiano, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Domingo Lulu. She aims to become a chef someday. Macapas Rayan Sarte, with honors, daughter of Mrs. Janet Sarte, aspiring to become a soldier someday. Mitiam Maria Jessica Nesperos, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Sofrenia Mitiam. She would like to become a teacher. Mitiam Maria Christine Hermosa, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Rafael Mitiam, dreaming to be a businesswoman. Payat Trixia May Mitiam, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Amado Payat, hopes to become a chef. Porlit Moshelane Dalalo, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Mariano Porlit. She would like to become a flight attendant. Radovan Leah Cris Suarez, with honors, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Christopher Radovan. She aspires to become a businesswoman. Rosario Rona Ocal, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Roberto Rosario,
She wants to become a teacher. Rosario Tricia Nicole Manzon, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Richard Rosario. She would like to become a nurse. Temporal Regine de Guzman, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Ruben Temporal. She wants to become a caregiver. Uberas Bianca Silao, daughter of Miss Rebecca R. Silao. Her ambition is to become a flight attendant.
Today's event is being graced by one who will give inspirations and who will share relevant experiences and life-changing stories that definitely contribute to the lives of our learners to become driven and eager individuals in shaping their future. To introduce to us this year's guest of honor and speaker, let's lend our ears and stay focused to Mrs. Mariluti Joven, Head Teacher 3.
Good day to everyone. A small but terrible, respectful guide, physically and mentally energetic, are the qualities of a person whom I met way back 1984 to 1985. He started his journey with a humble beginning. He grew up in Calci, a locality with panoramic view of rice field, where our guest loved to dwell every time he wanted to. He enjoyed listening to the sound of crickets, birds singing, and the leaves dancing. An ideal place for a dreamer like him who is wishing to accomplish his life goals. His parents are Mr. Servando V. Fernandez and Mrs. Elijah S. Fernandez. He is the fourth of 6 siblings with 1 brother and 4 sisters. He is happily married to Amelia M. Fernandez on August 3, 1996, and blessed with only 1 son named Nathaniel M. Fernandez, a graduating architecture student at Mapua University. When he started to claim more knowledge, he attended his elementary grade at Calcib Elementary School, school year 1975 to 1981. And continued his secondary education at Enrico T. Prado National High School, formerly Buerbayawas High School, in the year 1981 to 1985. During his stay in this school, he walked 1 kilometer daily from home to school. Due to his perseverance and desire to achieve his goals, he pursued his tertiary education at Technological Institute of the Philippines in 1985 to 1990 and took up Bachelor of Science in Architecture. Year 1992, when he began to exercise his profession at MS Bernardo Construction and Development Corporation. Man is not contented of what he has. He still wants to broaden his knowledge and skills. So he decided to go abroad at Mohammed Al Sabek, Architects, Planner, Consulting Engineers, Riyadh Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in 1993 to 1994. Money is not only the happiness of every individual, but the people around him and the kind of environment he lives. So he moved to Amadeo Rayot Corporation, Brunei Darussalam, in the year 1994 to 1998. And finally, in the year 2001 to 2005, he returned to his homeland because he firmly believes that there is no place like home. He worked at RF Catley and Associates in Cebu City. Putting all his skills and experiences together, he was able to put up their own architectural design and construction firm RFAM Design and Builders Corporation in Bacoor, Cavite. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you one of the iconic and remarkable person who happened to be my former student when he was in high school. Let's all welcome Mr. Roven Fernandez. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
Dr. Eli Ubaldo, Assistant School Division Superintendent, Officer in Charge, Office of the School Division Superintendent, Dr. Maria Crisilda G. Ocam, Assistant School Division Superintendent for Elementary, Dr. Diosdado Cayabyab, Assistant School Division Superintendent for High School, Dr. Rocco de la Cruz, District Supervisor, Dr. Cristobal P. Cristobal, School Principal, the heads of the different departments, faculty members, proud parents, completers, ladies and gentlemen, na imbag nga bigat kada kayo amin. When I received the invitation from my former classmate, Mrs. Merna Bautista, to be the guest of honor and speaker for today's ceremonies, I was wondering as to what I am going to tell you. I am not rich or known person. Moreover, I was not even an honor student when I graduated from this school, Enrico T. Prado National High School, formerly Borbayawas High School. However, I eventually took the courage to say yes, and hoping that in these few minutes, I may at least inspire you to continue with your journey to life. Before I go further, may I first congratulate the completers for the day marks the attainment of your dreams. Today is a proof that you have surmounted the challenges of junior high school. This year has been tougher for you given the current condition. Hence, what you have accomplished is no small feat. Secondly, I want to congratulate your parents, for you are now harvesting the fruit of your sacrifices. And of course, I would also like to congratulate the teachers for successfully fulfilling their responsibilities and bringing this student to what they are now. The theme for today's Moving Up program is kalidad ng edukasyon, lalong patatagin sa gitna ng pandemya. Strengthening the quality of education amid the COVID-19 pandemic. With COVID-19 took the world by storm last year, everybody was in a disarray as to how to deal with it. Businesses, government offices, including schools, were closed. We were all ordered to stay home, save lives, and maybe parents had doubts whether to enroll their children to school. Thus, this event is a momentous one for everybody, from the completers, parents, and teachers. This event is already a testament that half of the battle has been won in providing and strengthening quality education despite the effects of the pandemic. But how do we really provide and strengthen education for our children and future generation? My father, who is a farmer, has always believed that education is an equalizer in the society. He never believed in limitations of poverty and other challenges to gain education. True enough, when you learn to read and write, and as you progress, gain knowledge and skills, you start to understand. You question things, but you also learn how to answer unsolved things. Therefore, it is the parents who are the first and foremost force that provides quality education. As explained by Sigmund Freud, an Austrian doctor, that the way parents deal with their children determine how their personalities develop and become well-adjusted adults. So parents like me, let us continue to be warm, responsive, and supportive parents to our children. Samahan nating mangarap ang ating mga anak. Let us support their dreams. Let us assure them that we are always behind them. Tayo dapat ang unang cheerleader nila and always ready to remind them, kaya mo yan, anak. Let us not limit their dreams. Instead, encourage them to try all possibilities. My parents have always dreamed of sending us, their children, to higher education if they themselves have not earned any degree. Their firm belief in education led them to continue building dreams with us. Magsasaka ang apang namin. Napaka marangal na hanap buhay. But he never wanted us to be complacent, to stay in our comfort zone, to stay in four corners of our home. He pushed us to dream and work for that dream. Sabi nga ni Gordon Hinckley, isang religious leader, you can't build a great building on a weak foundation. You must have a solid foundation if you're going to have a strong super structure. It is as parents, because I myself is also a parent, who should be the solid foundation for our children's success. Kaya palakpakan natin at yakapin ang ating mga magulang bilang pasasalamat sa lahat ng kanilang sakripisyo. Secondly, the teachers and the entire school staff. They impart their knowledge, enhance our skills and talents. Mas natuto tayo kapag napansin at napagalitan pa nga ni ma'am. Because it only means that they are concerned about our progress as students and as individuals. Kaya naalala ko, mga dati ko teachers sa Burbayawas High School. Karamihan, retired na siguro sila, ma'am. Mga ma'am, salamat po. Our teachers provide us undying love, guidance, and commitment, and teach us become a better person. Indeed, they are our second parents outside of our homes. Truly, they are one of the reasons why students continuously receive quality education despite the threat of COVID-19. Kasunod sa mga magulang natin, isa sila sa mga pinakamasaya kapag nalalaman nilang naabot natin ang tagumpay. Maging abogado, doktor, inhenyero, arkitekto o saan mang profesyon tayo nabibilang. And of course, ikaw, kayo na mga completers, COVID-19 may have made you uncertain and doubtful of what lies ahead in the future. However, your courage and determination brought you to this day despite all the hardship. Walang ibang tutulong sa iyo kundi ang sarili mo. Before you enter the school, you know nothing but your willingness to learn, your values, virtues, and winning attitude help you to attain your goals. Noong panahon ko, Jurassic era pa. Wala pang internet noon. Kaya walang Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. But now, Despite the presence of COVID-19, you have your teachers and your books, and you have all the available materials at the click of your fingertips. Then, we had to rely on knowledge imparted by our professors and the library. Sabi ko nga sa inyo sa pasimula, I was never an honor student. That is why it is not all about grades or number of awards received. It is a plus but not an assurance. Dream but never let us just stay as a dream. Always read and educate yourself. Focus on your strength and consistently work on achieving your dreams. All the things that you have been through up to this point makes you who you are, and the best part is you are not done yet. Today is not merely an end, but a beginning. Continue to experience things and make memories every day that will mold you to who you truly are and you are meant to become. Strive to become the best version of yourself. As you move on from this school and embark on next big journey, senior high school, college, and any other choices in life, remember the teachings of your parents, your teachers, and your school. Enjoy, make friends, and learn new good things from them. But make sure to surround yourself with people who will push you to do good and will lead you to the right path. I remember when I felt the pressure of my college days. Dahil sa hirap, ilan kaming nag-aaral sa pamilya at sabay kami ng ate ko sa kolehiyo. I volunteered na uwi na lang ako. But living with two older sisters, alam niyo na ang sagot, di pwedeng umuwi, kailangan magtapos. They pushed me to continue on, finish my studies, and attain my goals. Be with people who will listen, encourage, and will believe in you. Work hard, but when you experience setbacks, see these failures and challenges as an opportunity rise. Thrive and become better and use setbacks as comebacks. Completers, this marks the beginning of your journey. Celebrate your achievements and honor those who have helped you. Take the courage and be excited for what is in store ahead. Before I end my speech, I just want to thank the faculty and staff of Enrico T. Prado National High School, formerly Borbayawas High School. Thank you for being an important part of my education. To my parents and siblings for believing in me. To my wife and son for continuously being my inspiration and companion on this journey. To the parents who are here today, continue supporting your children. And to you completers, make your parents proud, make your teachers proud, make your school proud. Again, congratulations to all of you. Diyos ti agina kada kayo amin, manen, naimbag nga bigat kada kayo amin.
This would not be completed without a word coming from our outstanding completers. With this, may we hear the words of gratitude from our student, Charlene Z. Corpus, with high honors.
Sa ating panauhing pandangal, Architect Ruben S. Fernandez, sa punong guro ng Enrico T. Prado National High School, Dr. Cristobal P. Cristobal, sa ating mga ulong guro, Ma'am Priscilla F. Doria, Ma'am Marilu T. Joven, Ma'am Marieta V. Argao, at Sir Ruben R. Mandapat. Sa lahat ng mga guro, sa ating mga magulang, mga kapwa ka-estudyante, magandang araw po sa lahat. Sa 4 na taong pag-aaral bilang isang junior high student, ay dumating na ang araw na pagtatapos na ito. Naranasan ng tawanan, kulitan, tampuhan at marami pang bagay sa loob ng silid-aralan kasama ang aking mga kapwa mag-aaral. Ngayong araw ay ang araw ng selebrasyon ng ating tagumpay na pagtatapos ng ating junior high school journey. Naway ang mga alaala ng pinagsamahan ay sa pamilya ko na palaging nasa tabi ko, sumusuporta sa pag-aaral ko. Sa magulang ko na tinutulungan ako sa lahat ng bagay na mahina ako. Kontento kayo sa kung ano man ang resulta ng grado ko. Basta masaya ako. Sa pagsasakripisyo para lang maibigay ang mga pangangailangan ko, lalo na sa pag-aaral ko. Iniaalay ko sa inyo ang gantimpala at tagumpay na ito dahil kayo ang dahilan upang magpatuloy at makamit ko ang layunin na ito. Maraming salamat dahil ramdam ko na ipinagmamalaki niyo ako bilang anak at masaya sa bawat tagumpay ko. Maraming salamat dahil kayo ang magulang ko. Sa lahat ng guro, lubos na pasasalamat para sa inyo dahil sa pagtulong sa aming mag-aaral at pagiging pangalawang ina sa loob ng eskwelahan. Sa Panginoon na siyang nagbibigay ng lakas at palaging gumagabay sa lahat ng mga pagsubok. Maraming salamat, Panginoon. Bilang pinakamataas at nangungunang mag-aaral sa batch na ito, sa ngalan ng aking mga kapwa-estudyante, ipinapahayag ko ang aming lubos na pasasalamat para sa mga taong gumabay, sumuporta at tumulong sa amin upang maabot namin ang tagumpay na ito. Lalo na sa aming mga minamahal na magulang na kasama namin sa lahat ng bagay at tagumpay. Para sa aking mga kapwa-estudyante na magtatapos ngayong araw na ito, may medalya man o wala, mataas man ang grado o mababa, ang mahalaga ay pumasa ka at sapat na ito para magtagumpay ka. Bilang pagdiriwang ay naway ang lahat ay masaya dahil tiyak na ipinagmamalaki ka ng iyong pamilya. Congratulations!
To formally end our program, Ms. Priscilla F. Doria, Head Teacher 3, will now give the closing remarks.
Good day to everyone. Our virtual congratulations to all our completers, parents and teachers in the second virtual moving up ceremony for school year 2020-2021 with the theme Strengthening the Quality of Education amid COVID-19 Pandemic. Kalidad ng edukasyon, lalong patatagin sa gitna ng pandemya. Truly, through perseverance, patience, and dedication of our stakeholders, this momentous and remarkable event became possible. My dear junior high school completers, you have just finished another academic ladder. But this is only just the beginning of your next door of education towards the senior high school. May you continue carrying the good ideals, the knowledge, and the wisdom that our school taught you. On behalf of the Enrico T. Prado National High School, led by our hardworking and promising school principal, Dr. Cristobal P. Cristobal, malugod po naming ipinapaabot ang taos-pusong pasasalamat sa inyong lahat. To our knowledgeable speaker, Architect Ruben Silao Fernandez. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation to spare your time with us. Your highly motivating message truly brought inspiration to all of us. To our teachers, a million thanks to your heroic deeds amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Your patience and understanding, despite the obstacle we face, we have overcome them to make the learning journey of our students more fruitful and meaningful. To our parents, thank you and congratulations too, because you never get tired of helping and guiding our children in doing their tasks. Half of the milestone and achievements is rooted for your untiring and unfaltering guidance, love and support, and the academic journey. Above all, this will not become possible without the presence of our Lord Almighty, the prime reason why we have reached this far, with good sound, body and mind. Again, our warmest congratulations, and may I end this with a noteworthy quotation from Walt Disney. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Thank you, maraming salamat, at mabuhay po tayong lahat.
We might not be walking across that stage with the cameras flashing. They've been waiting on our day. It's been a journey, hasn't it? I wouldn't trade a moment. No, I wouldn't change a moment. I'm who I am because of you. Whether we've known each other our whole life or just a year or two, and I'm grateful for the time we put in, getting us to this moment, so we could get to this moment. We may not be throwing our caps in the air, but our spirit will rise anywhere. Remember our hallways filled with memories and friends. I wouldn't trade a moment. No, I wouldn't change a moment. I'm who I am because of you. Whether we've known each other our whole life or just a year or two, and I'm grateful for the good and hard times we've had. They'll get us through life's moments. Yeah, they'll get us through life's moments. Ooh, if you're over there feeling a little scared about your brand new start, don't get discouraged. Keep showing your courage, 'cause that's who we are. I'm who I am because of you. Whether we've known each other our whole life or just a year or two, and I'm grateful for the times we'll never forget, so we can be in this moment, right here in this moment. I'm grateful for our new beginnings, right here in this moment. We might not be walking across that stage with the cameras flashing. They've been waiting on our day. It's been a journey, hasn't it? I wouldn't trade a moment. No, I wouldn't change a moment. I'm who I am because of you. Whether we've known each other our whole life or just a year or two. And I'm grateful for the time we put in, getting us to this moment, so we could get to this moment. We may not be throwing our caps in the air.
Once more, congratulations to the junior high school completers batch 2020 to 2021 and to your proud parents. This has been Sir Erickson M. Bueno, Teacher 3 from English Department.
And this has been Ma'am Joy Arsenine, Teacher 3 from English Department. Thank you, and God bless us all.